Our program has a few very critical requirements that we need you to know about in order to proceed with enrollment. So listen carefully as we outline these. First of all, time in class. This has been mentioned, but we really want to drive home that you are required to do at least 2 hours per week in class with an instructor and that you keep in regular contact with your instructor. You'll be able to create your own commitment schedule based on the hours that we're open and the hours that you're available. We encourage you to communicate with your instructor if those hours need to change. However, you are required to do the 2 hours in class per week unless an arrangement has been made with your instructor to offer you temporary services like our outreach coordinator. More information is available if you ask your instructor. Moving on, there is no cost for initial enrollment into our program. However, if you're dropped from our program, you will be required to pay a $25 deposit to re-enroll. We'll talk a little bit about what that means to be dropped in a few moments. Additionally, it used to be that GED students would be required to pay $37.50 per test for their exams. Luckily, we have a program in the state of Michigan called GED to School that will pay for you to take your exams if you show a passing score on each of the practice tests. Our program has grant money to pay for those practice tests if you follow the instructor's guidelines on studying. Returning students. Yes, every year you do need to enroll. Even if you were just in class a couple weeks ago, we need you to do the enrollment paperwork again, and we need you to take the CASAS pretest again. Depending on when you took the CASAS last, you may or may not have to take it immediately, but you will have to take it soon. So keep that in mind. You will not have to pay the $25 deposit as long as you completed prior year pre and post testing and any other end of the year requirements by your instructor. If you're not sure if you have to pay the $25 enrollment deposit, ask your instructor. No credits can be applied until the $25 deposit has been made. Communication is critical to your success, and we pride ourselves in keeping our Facebook page updated as much as possible with critical information for you and opportunities that you might want to know about. It's for this reason that we encourage you to go to facebook.com/pwadulted in order to keep up with what's going on in our program. You might see things like pictures of graduation when someone finishes all their classes or passes GED, or a field trip that some of our students went on to a local college or career fair. But you'll also see critical information about closings as well. We do follow the Plainwell Community Schools in terms of closing. If Plainwell Community Schools is closed, all of our campuses are closed and all classes are canceled. However, our satellites also will close if their local school districts are closed. For instance, if Hastings Community Schools are closed, then our Hastings site is closed, but our Plainwell site might be open. The same thing goes for Wayland. However, again, if our Plainwell Community Schools are closed, all of our sites and campuses are closed. We do try to contact you as much as possible via text or phone call, but we do rely on you to check the Facebook for any closing questions. If you have any information changes like address or phone number, or if you change from one program to the next, for instance, from GED to high school completion, we do need you to do another enrollment form on the iPad in order to solidify that change. We don't want you to miss critical information about things like graduation because we forgot to do this step. So keep it in mind. I talked about how you could get dropped from our program, and I want to cover that a little bit more in detail. I can't emphasize enough how important and critical it is for you to communicate with your instructor or the outreach coordinator regularly. If you're not in class for your 2 hours a week commitment, or we haven't heard from you and haven't seen you online, we are first going to call, text, or Facebook stalk you in order to get in contact with you. We will usually try this several times. However, once is sufficient. If we do not hear from you, then we will send you a 10-day warning letter. That gives you 10 business days to respond to our request for information. At that point, you should contact your instructor immediately and let them know what's going on. If you need to take a break from school, let us know. There is something we can do called a planned gap for up to 3 months if you need to just take a break and focus on something else for a while. Please don't ghost us, because then you will get dropped and you'll receive a drop notification letter in the mail. Anyone with a drop notification letter on their file is then put on the list for the $25 re-enrollment deposit, which must be paid upon re-enrollment in the future. Again, you will not receive this letter if you keep in contact with your instructor or the outreach coordinator. The way we stay open is through grant money. So it's important for us to continue making our performance so that we can keep our doors open and available programs to people in the community. It's for this reason that we will ask you, after 40 hours of instruction in our program, to post-test on CASAS. So you will have taken a pre-test when you enroll, and we'll ask you after 40 hours to post-test in order to show a gain in reading or mathematics, or both. Because our funds are tied to this, we ask that when you're contacted to do a post-test, you come in immediately to do it as soon as possible, and that you try your best. If you aren't able to make a learning gain after 40 hours, we will ask you to retest. Although if you make a learning gain the first time you post-test, you will not have to retest again. It's important that you do your own work in this program. We encourage you to work with your teachers to help you study and create your best product that you can be proud of for classwork. If it is found out that you are not the unique author of your work, you will not receive credit, and you may be dropped from the program for plagiarism if it's habitual. Follow-up is another requirement. Our program is tied to funds that are connected to your success. So we need to keep in contact with you, and we want to know what's going on. So after the second quarter after you exit, we will contact you and ask you information about employment and post-secondary training. For instance, if you got a new job, or if you're still at your old job, or if you are doing any post-secondary training or in community college, for instance. We ask these questions so that we can continue to receive the grant funds and continue to help other people. We ask that you please respond in a prompt manner and give us the best information possible. We also do this because we want to know if you're struggling to find employment, or if you want to be in post-secondary training but aren't sure how to get started. We want to help you by connecting you to resources that will help you get there. So please think of follow-up as us checking in and staying in touch and making sure everything is going well for you.